This is my first video by myself. Tom's gonna post it for me because I'm just terrible at that. But this is for John's Comics with Kids, his raffle contest. He's charged us with telling a story, and he wants us to share a comic book story that kids would enjoy and why. I have a story. I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna share it mostly because I think that watching everybody else share their story has been really fun. It's been really great to get involved in the community. You guys are really nice, so I'm gonna do kind of my rodeo with it. It's through February 1st, it sounds like, and we're gonna put a description in the link below because that was pretty vague, and I'm sure that John can explain it way better than I can. So without further ado, let me jump into my story. So when I was like, I don't know, 11, 13, something, just a dirtbag teenager, something. I used to go to the mall with my friends and just hang out and do nothing because that was, honest to God, all we had to do because we were suburban kids with just truly nothing to do. So we would make laps around the mall. We would go to like Spencer's, like, oh, the stuff's so funny. And at some point in the rounds, we started visiting this comic book store. Our friends, I think, played Magic there. We kind of just hung out. The store owner, at some point, I remember saying, hey, you know, I've never read a comic book. I watched, like, Batman animated series. I'd watched, like, the X-Men movies. So, I mean, I wasn't, like, completely averse to the comic book thing. But I hadn't really done it. I didn't really know that it was really available. So, I thought it was just, like, old people stuff or, like, boy stuff. I don't know. I was like a kid. So he ended up giving me a graphic novel, and that graphic novel is this one. So Umbrella Academy is written by Gerard Way, who is he's a genius in my opinion. My Chemical Romance is like my favorite band, and I would fangirl over them forever. Yeah, it's just trash music from middle school. It's what carries you through. So and it's a really good story. I wouldn't recommend it maybe to like Charlie and Kate. I would recommend it to somebody in middle school, maybe a little bit older, high school. It's kind of gory. I don't know. I was raised in a household where we watched Apocalypto when I was in like elementary school. So I don't really have I'm like completely desensitized. I played violent video games my whole life. So my parents didn't like stop me from reading anything violent or gory. So I don't know if this is honest to God inappropriate or not. I have no idea because I'm the youngest person in my family. None of my cousins or siblings had kids. I was the last one born. So I don't know. I don't have any kids in my life. I do my best though, okay? So Rainbow's right here. He wants to say hi. Hi, Rainbow. He's so irritated. Okay, so where was I? So I was given this book, and 14-year-old Eryn was like, hey, thanks for the gift. And then I put it on a bookshelf and I never read it. For whatever reason, I was just probably into other stuff, probably boys at that point. I don't know. I never read it. I didn't really start reading comics until, I don't know, like my like 19, 20. My entry into comic books was The Sandman, Neil Gaiman's Sandman. So definitely not something I would recommend to kids. I don't really have a lot of like kid readable stuff in my repertoire. So yeah, Sandman was like my first comic book that I ever read. And then like my first like superhero book that I've read was Watchmen, which I really liked. I really liked Watchmen. I thought it was really good. So years later, I have come back and read this. It's a really good story. It's about, I don't know, it's about like, it's very X-Men-y. Like the kids, like they have really cool powers, really creative powers, not your kind of like, oh, they have laser beam eyes and they breathe fire or whatever. It's just different like creative powers that are just more, I don't know, like kind of creepy. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I've only read the first trade. I'm gonna read Dallas at some point. But yeah, years later down the road, I've read it, and if I could go back and give that comic book store owner some money, I would. Yeah, but I still have the copy that they gave me, so that's kind of cool. I did want to make a recommendation for one that was more kid-friendly. So something that I do recommend for maybe Kate or Charlie would be Bee and Puppy Cat. So it's an independent book. It's by Kaboom Publishing. They publish it. So it's kind of a story about like, it's very like Adventure Timey or like SpongeBob-y, where she's like this unemployable, awkward person. Like she's like working at a temp agency or whatever, and then she ends up like having to babysit this like puppy cat. It's literally a dog, like cat dog. And there's misadventures, and it's very episodic. You can just watch or read one thing and it makes sense, and you don't have to know everything for the story to be good and funny. So I think it's really good, especially for young readers. I think it's just, I crack up laughing whenever I watch some of their video shorts or when I read the book. It's just good. I don't know. It's just good writing, and it's just funny for me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I just identify as a weird kid too. She kind of reminds me of Tina from Bob's Burgers, who I think is hilarious. That's pretty much all I've got. I don't really know how to end videos, so this is the best I can do. Yeah, there's gonna be some more info kind of below, but that's my story. I was given a book, and then I didn't read it, and then when I realized that comics were awesome, I read it. And it took me way too long, and I wish I would have started reading comics a long, long time ago.